Pineal Stories is intended for information and educational purposes only. The content shared on this podcast should not be taken as medical advice. We aim to raise awareness and foster thoughtful discussion around symptomatic pineal cysts. We are not providing medical guidance or diagnosis. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional regarding any medical concerns or decisions. Every individual situation is unique, and only your doctor can help you determine the best course of action for your health. Hey everybody, welcome back to Pineal Stories. This week we have a very special guest.
Hi.
That's our son, Paxton, who went through this, and it occurred to us that that's a perspective that could be valuable in this journey that so many people are taking, because Paxton was 10 when Kelly started having her pineal gland cyst symptoms. And he was 13 when she finally got the surgery. I'm sorry, he was 12 when she got the surgery, and 13 when the symptoms finally subsided. So, Paxton, what is your perspective? How did you know something was going on with Mama?
Okay, so basically, I hadn't really noticed anything. I noticed she had lost a lot of weight, but I didn't say anything or point it out because y'all weren't saying anything or pointing it out, so I didn't think it really mattered that much. And I remember just walking in. I don't remember if it was the bedroom or living room one day, and she was having a physical episode, and I just freaked out, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then you told me that this has actually been going on for the past few months, and I think I didn't really get much after that. You just told me I should probably go for a little bit and we can talk about it later. Mm-hmm. But that's how that's when I first realized.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did my best to keep that person that we refer to as Upside Down Kelly away from you. But as you know, it didn't work.
Yes.
it eventually... you were fully up to speed, but I did my best as long as I could. So what was the most notable episode for you? What really stands out?
Most notable episode? I know the most notable kind of episode.
Okay, how about that?
The physical episodes specifically, especially near the start, would usually kind of start and then they would go away. And it wasn't that bad at that point. The most notable kind of episode was the ones where they were on extended periods of time, and later 2023, or mid to late 2023, where it would be mostly episode and just almost always not lucid. And that was when, what is the word I'm trying to find? That was when the delusions and all that, that was the most notable kind, because that is what kept me awake at nighttime, and had I literally had nightmares a lot of the time about the day before. And so that's probably, yeah.
Which ones were nightmarish, if you can remember one or two?
I remember, I don't know if I can't remember the one specifically, but it's where, I don't know, I think she called the police and they came here.
Right.
And I didn't go to school because that actually woken me up at 4 a.m. And I tried going to sleep for a little while so I could just go to school a couple of hours late. And then I basically just had a nightmare that just replayed that entire morning. And then I woke up with a start and I couldn't really go back to sleep. So I just didn't even go to school that day.
Any others that were kind of traumatizing?
I'm trying to think. It's literally all of them. Just specifically, I don't think many of them were worse than the other ones. They were all just bad. All of them were just really bad.
And I told the listeners before that you had this knack, or you developed this knack, and I don't know where it came from, but you just had the ability to calm her down to some degree and kind of help her through those. What do you remember about doing that?
So when she was having like the freakouts and delusions and stuff, she
Mhm.
would never yell at anybody else.
Just me.
But she would always disagree with them. Like she would, um, like when she was having the episodes, she would convince herself something really bad is happening or something really bad is gonna happen, or it would just be something. And I was able to, I don't know. Usually, I was trying to be, what is the word where you're like putting yourself into someone else's shoes? Empathetic.
Empathetic, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to use empathy to like kind of tell her how things like were and like what's happening right now. She just has like she herself has to think and understand what is going through her head right now. She just has to deny it. Like it just isn't real. And a lot of times it wouldn't stop the episode or anything, but it would definitely calm her down a lot. Like I remember one time she had literally packed her suitcase with everything and she was just going to go to Houston for like, I don't remember how long she was planning on going, but she was just going to leave
Hmm.
and come back when she wanted to. And I told her no matter what she thinks, she just has to listen, like she just has to trust me and understand that she like going like doing this stuff, it's not going to help anything and she just has to trust me on that. And it really did help. That I She didn't end up leaving that day. She really wanted to and she tried telling me she needed to, but I just kept telling her like this not it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, there was an episode during that final year where she decided to go to Houston, and I was so frustrated. It just sounded like the best idea ever. But then she decided that I couldn't be, left here, so she didn't go then either. Um, there were a couple of times earlier on I'd kind of forgotten about that, where she planned on going to stay with her mom for a while.
Oh wait, no, I just remembered. It wasn't that she was going to leave. It's that she wanted us to leave. I just remembered. She wanted us to just go to Houston and she wanted me to like pack and she wanted us to just go. And that's specifically what it was. And I was just telling her like just kept reassuring her and it worked. I got her.
When you say us, you and your mom, she
Yes.
wanted to take you with her. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like what is going through your head right now, and I know you're not going to be able to understand this, isn't real. Like what you're thinking right now isn't real. And you can't do anything about that except just trust me. Like I just needed her to trust me and that it worked. She um like what am I trying to say? I think it just
It
something
sunk
kind of
in.
clicked. She
There we
kind of
go.
like she had one of those, not where she was there and back, but she had these like moments where she would kind of like you could tell deep down she like realized, but she wasn't out of the episode or anything. It just calmed her down enough to stop what she was doing.
Okay. So, thinking about the year before the surgery, when things were, I mean, it was rare that she was not in an episode. Did you ever become concerned that this was not going to end?
Yeah, I mean, I had doubts and I tried to just keep reassuring myself that in the end it would be okay. And it was, but it was starting to get like real hard to believe because the decline didn't only get worse, but it got faster. Like it was, I don't even know. It was really hard to believe, but I kept trying.
What gave you comfort during that time? Did anything help? Is my question.
Um, well, before we learned about the Mayo Clinic or anything, I just like prayed that it would just all stop, like all the time. I would just ask God, like I just wanted it to all stop.
Hmm.
Um, and the Mayo Clinic also, when we went there initially, that gave me hope because um I really thought that we were gonna get the surgery done at the Mayo Clinic. Like I thought that that was gonna be our way out of this. But then they told us the same thing that the other doctors did, which was it's not bad enough yet. It will be dangerous if we do it, and we just have to wait. But no matter how much we told them, they just didn't understand that it was already at that point. Um, I don't know if it was because she actually seemed to act different around doctors, but none of the doctors that we explained this to understood, except for MUSC. But all the other doctors, they didn't understand that we were already like way past that point. Um, like the surgery was like our last option. We can't just watch and wait anymore. This has been happening for the past I don't even know how many years. But it hasn't even shown getting better at all. Like nothing has shown. Um, there was no light at the end of the tunnel at that point. It was just hearing that from the doctors, like, kind of made me mad. Um, like it's hard to describe, but like them not wanting to do the surgery because it's not bad enough, like genuinely made me angry at them, and that like it was seriously frustrating.
So if you were in the room of the Mayo Clinic tumor board next week, and they're deciding whether or not to give a patient in a similar situation to your mom that surgery, and they said, no, it's too dangerous, what would you tell them?
Um, that's a good question. Here's the thing. I could tell them they have to, or that this patient, like, they're not going to get better unless the surgery happens. Like, the only option is surgery. But even if I was in there in the tumor board, um, like, we've already told them that before, that they've already been given that information. Like, we've already told them enough that, like, surgery is kind of just our last hope. And I just, even if I did tell them something, I don't think they would understand. I understand why they wouldn't, to say, because when out in public, she wasn't herself at all, but people didn't know what she was actually like. So it was less to them than it meant to us. Because people didn't, like, if we were out in public talking to doctors and stuff, the person they learned about was not her. Like, you could tell in her speech patterns and everything, and the way she talked, especially if it was just us, that the person they got to know made it seem like less because they never actually saw who she was. If they saw the kind of person she was before, or who she was and how she acted compared to now, they would probably realize that the surgery is our last hope and we need it to happen.
That was incredibly insightful. I mean, I had sort of hinted at that in a previous episode that there were times where she would act, but I had never put it so eloquently. You're 14. Good. Wow. All right. Hey, good job. Proud dad. Um, wow. All right. So the year after surgery, which for me was the hardest year, never knowing, because she could just be that upside down Kelly that fast, and then she was herself, and then not, and then herself, and then not, and the bad Kelly was less and less and less. But did you have experiences like that where you were talking to your mom, and then all of a sudden you're talking to someone else?
That was scary. Um, because I knew it would be like a slow decline of episode stopping, but I don't know what it was. I was just worried that it was just going to keep going. And I think the only reason that is because of how young I was, how young I am, that took up a chunk of my life. And it's just like, it just stopping after a few months was like unfathomable to me. Like it almost felt like it couldn't happen. And it did eventually. But those first few times when she had the episodes after the removal was like, it was scary to think about. But I gave myself hope because after those first few months, the decline of episodes went down pretty rapidly. And that's when I kind of realized, okay, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Her final episode in October of last year was only a couple of hours, and I don't think you were around for it. I think that probably the last episode you saw was actually probably August or so.
The last
What do you think?
episode I saw, November, December, January. Yeah, it was probably the last episode I've actually seen was probably in September or yeah, like July or August, probably around that time.
Okay. So thinking about that, one of the episodes near the end,
Mm-hmm.
compare and contrast that with an episode in the year leading up to surgery.
Dramatically less. Like the episode, um, how do I describe it? The reason I'd given myself hope even after seeing the episodes was because of how much less they were. Because I would see an episode now, and she would kind of act differently and all that, and a lot of times she would just they started to get a little bit more physical and all that, and I would think back to the year before or like how the episodes were before the surgery, and I would just be like this is so much less than it used to be. Like we're definitely almost there. Like I kind of realized that.
Okay. Yeah, as her husband slash prime target, that year was harder for me because of how, it was just so fast. We're having a conversation, and then I'm talking to this person that hates me just like instantly. And the year before, it was um, just always, it was just
Yeah.
always that person. So, but you're right. If you were to just look at one episode on one side and one episode on the other, yes, way less. Things weren't nearly as over the top in that year after. It was just harder to deal with for me. But I'm glad I really appreciate your perspective on that because I'm glad to know that that's the way you were feeling.
Yeah.
All right, so that we did before and we did after. Um, the day of the surgery, you know, mom's best friend flies in, dad, mom, we got a lot of people there. And we all get up early and we head to the hospital. And what are you thinking?
Time was just slow. And I was like scared because it's brain surgery. Um like I was both scared and also just I wasn't I was excited for her not having a tumor, but it's not like oh my goodness, it's so hard to explain. It's just like time just went by so slowly. Like I would keep looking at my phone. I would try like getting distracted or talking to people, but it was just like that day moved so slowly until after the surgery. And going into the room was insane. Like seeing her I already like noticed something.
What's
And
that?
I don't know if you've seen a picture of her while she's in an episode,
Oh yeah,
but she literally looks different.
right.
Her eyes are like her pupils are dilated differently and all that stuff, and her facial expression is literally just different. Um, like I think like kind of like a horror movie. Like it's just like a different person almost. And then
Right.
I went in there and I saw her, and it was like I kind of just it like kind of clicked. I realized that I think I didn't think it was completely over, but I knew it was like I actually at that moment I had convinced myself that it was completely over, which it wasn't. It took a couple
Right.
months, but seeing her like that was like I don't know. Imagine needing to like sneeze for like 25 minutes and then finally doing it, and then and then like amplifying that feeling by infinity times. You know, it was like relief.
That's awesome. Okay. That's a that's a good way of putting that.
Yeah.
All right. Oh gosh. All right. When we met with Dr. Patel, do you remember that?
Like in the room. Wait, are you talking about like after the surgery we talked to him, or before when we first met up with him at MEFC?
When we first met up with him.
A little bit. I remember talking to the nurse beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't. Yeah, I if I remember correctly, we were on one of the actual hospitality floors, and in the back of the room was this whiteboard where he had actually already like written stuff, and he was like showing us stuff.
Hmm.
Is that what that meeting was?
I believe so. You have a better memory than I do because
Yeah, I think
I was
do
just
remember
trying
that.
to like survive.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. Okay. So w- did you were you around him enough to form an impression of him?
Not. I probably was, but Dr. Patel was the last thing I was thinking about while in South Carolina.
Sure.
I would have made an impression with him if it wasn't for the tumor. I was literally thinking about every other thing, and I was just like possibilities and all that sort of thing. Um, so I think that's the only reason I don't remember him as much as not not that as I should, but as I usually would.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Because I was kind of just thinking about everything else but that.
Yeah. So okay. So along those lines, what impression do you have of Charleston? What do you remember?
I remember a lot of this stuff. Oh, I remember their hospital. I don't know why I remember this. Had like surprisingly like really good food, specifically sushi.
Okay, that's exactly what I had in mind.
I don't.
I was wondering if you were going to go there because you love sushi, and I took you for sushi in a hospital while your mother was having surgery, and I
And
thought
I was very skeptical, but
Yeah,
it
me
was
too.
pretty good. I'm not even gonna lie.
it was
It was
good.
like really good for whatever reason. And then I also, as Charleston's a really cool place. I wish we weren't there for that reason. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm glad we were there for that reason. I wish the reason didn't exist while we were there, and I wish we were there for a different reason if it didn't exist.
I understand.
If that makes sense.
It does.
I remember like going to lunch a couple of times with like mom's friend Amy and grandma, and I think that was it. I think it was grandma and
Mhm.
yeah, and mom's friend Amy, and we went to this like um place. I don't even remember what it was called, but we went there for breakfast and it was good. And I'm just trying to remember Charleston in general. That's kind of, I mean, I remember the hospital and all that, but as far as outside of Charleston, I really don't remember that much because I spent Most of the time, either in the hospital or in the hotel.
There's three places that I thought you would remember.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just remember that. I remember getting ice cream
Yep.
day after the surgery.
Off-track ice cream.
Yes.
So that was one of the three.
Huh? Oh, you want me to say the other places?
I'm just curious if you can come up with. I'm just curious if we have the same.
I remember
list,
the day the place we went to with Amy, and we went later with you, was at the first start of the day up until 6 p.m. They served regular brunch and lunch food, and that nighttime they just turned into a pizza place for whatever reason.
I'd forgotten all about that.
That's the place I went to for breakfast, and they were really good on both because we got pizza and we got the breakfast stuff. And yeah, I do remember that place because I think I went there in a total of 4 times while we were at Charleston.
Oh wow! No, I just went that once.
You know what? I just remembered something.
What's that?
Going to downtown Charleston.
Uh-huh.
I remember going to the Apple store.
That's the one. Okay, so that's 2 of the 3.
Then I remember going to this bookstore and
That's
buying.
the third one. There we go.
Yeah, the
okay, we got all
bookstore
3.
was cool.
The bookstore
That
was
was
very
a cool place.
Yeah.
And I actually bought what book did I buy? Was it The Hunger Games that Rocky chewed up?
Yes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I was looking forward to reading that, but I actually ended up reading it anyways at the school library.
Yeah. Rocky was featured in episode 1 because he was in here. Everyone, Rocky is our mini doxy that you heard on episode 1, walking across Paxton, sheet music that shouldn't have been on the floor and making some fun background noises.
Oh.
And earlier, he ate a book.
Yeah, he chewed up the book and made me sad because it was really nice. It was like hardcover and everything.
Yeah. He was a puppy.
Yeah.
Should have been on the shelf.
Well, I've changed since then.
Okay. Fair. Alrighty. If you were to have the opportunity, and you know what, let me change that. Take this opportunity to tell any doctors, tumor boards, neurosurgeons, neurologists, or anyone else in the medical community who's listening to this, give them 1 or 2 things that you as a 14-year-old son of a patient who went through this for 3.5 years, what do you want them to know?
4 words. You do not understand. They do not. Every single time the doctor would, like I said, I just talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
It would literally, I would get mad at that because it wasn't that they weren't taking the time to listen. It was because they met her while she was in that episode state, and they never they never saw her or knew her before then. So it meant nothing to them because they met this person, and the issue is it had gotten so bad that they thought that's just who she was, and we were overreacting. But it's just not true, and I wish a doctor somewhere down the line would have realized that coming from the entire family, and actually tried and just say, just wait, because they just, I don't know. They met her while she was in that state, and they just thought that's who she was, and that, I guess, thought it was a lot less than it really was. But yeah.
We've interviewed a lot of people, and so far we've not run across one. No, there's lots of reports of people with delusions with this, but it's a small fraction of the people suffering from this. All the other stuff that goes along with it, the dizziness, the pain, the mental fog, the more common symptoms are also turned away. So
interesting.
I think I guess I would add to yours the point that the doctors don't seem to know what that line is, because they put people on watch and wait who are suffering greatly. You know, we've talked to a couple of people who did not want to go on living.
Yeah.
And at that point, the doctors told them, no, let's wait and see. So
Wow.
I don't know that they know what the line is.
So, okay. The way I looked at it was just thinking about like the kind of person she was, but that's, yeah. I mean, if they're even just turning down the physical, just genuine, like painful symptoms, like you said, like, like just the memory stuff or the physical episodes and all that sort of,
Eye pain, brain
Eye
fog.
pain.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to take the time, or they don't. I don't know.
I made a joke a few episodes back that on day one of medical school, doctors learned that the human body needs oxygen, the human body needs water, the human body needs food, and a cystic enlargement of the pineal gland causes no symptoms.
Yeah.
That's day one of medical school.
Seems like it.
Yeah. That's what this podcast is all about. If we can just get a few people in the medical community to listen, if we can just get a conversation going, if we can, just a few, we just need a few, because that starts debate. And yeah, doctors are scientists. Typically, you think of them that way anyway. And scientists don't get all ingrained in this is the way things are. Scientists look forward to being wrong, because being wrong means that progress is being made. And, you know, this hypothesis that has stood for a long time has now been disproven. Oh, that's great, because the entirety of human knowledge has now moved forward a little bit. That's what you do. And you know, on this, they are just absolutely, these things seem to be carved in stone. And I don't know. It's very frustrating. And I'm really glad that you agreed to do this, because having the perspective of a kid who had to live through, you know, their mom enduring this, maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
All right. Any last minute things?
Yeah. Doctors just need to listen to the families and the people who have this, and they just need to look at their research from the doctors that have actually seen this before, like Dr. Patel.
Yeah, Dr. Patel has a lot of published research, and the NIH does as well. There's a horrific story that is published out there about a young woman who thought, well, some terrible things were happening with her dad, she thought. And, you know, there's a great deal of suffering that is happening because of this, and a great deal of that is unnecessary.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah. I really hope it helps.
All right. Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to this episode of Pineal Stories, where patient voices matter and real stories have the power to drive change. If you or someone you love is living with a symptomatic pineal cyst, know that you are not alone. Our community is growing, and your experience matters. Share your story, connect with others, and help us push the medical conversation forward. Visit pinealstories.com to explore more stories, submit your own, and stay connected. And if you found this episode meaningful, please consider leaving a review and sharing it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay strong, stay informed, and keep speaking up. This is Michael Abels with my wife Kelly, and you've been listening to Pineal Stories. Thanks, y'all.